Hello and welcome to all you Taurus people. This is your monthly horoscope for July of 2021. Not too long video, I hope. I've tried to do them just in a 5 minute. It never works, but I have that intention. Let's have a look for Taurus people. People who've got the sun, the ascendant, the moon in Taurus. What are the energies in July? I can tell you one thing. It's no eclipses, no full squares going on. It's way more gentle energy, except for the beginning of the month. So the first week of the month is a bit frustrated. Definitely for the Taurians, because it's in fixed signs and you are a fixed sign, Taurus. So you're going to feel it quite strongly. But after that first week, you could say the first 10 days of July, it's totally different energy. And it's a very, even very enjoyable energy, you could say. Let's break this down. I'm going to talk about Mars and Venus that are in Leo, that are going to activate that Uranus-Saturn square in the beginning of the month. And that is a frustration. Because Uranus and Saturn in itself is already frustrating. And when a faster planet activates it, it's even more. But after that, there comes clarity because of Mercury. And after that, excuse me, there is the Mars and Venus conjunction, which is fantastic. I'll talk about that. And to conclude, Jupiter goes back into Aquarius. I'll talk about that as well. So a lot to talk about. But first of all, let's start with this frustration. What is this all about? Now, Mars will be at the very beginning of the month opposing Saturn, which is frustrating energy. It's like, I want to go forwards, but hey, there's something or someone putting a lid on it and I'm restricted here. And it's an opposition. It's like someone else is doing it, which is, of course, an illusion. But anyway, it's a projection. And Uranus is there in your house wanting to have this newness and this freshness. You know, a lot of Taurus people feel that that they are, and certainly those Taurians that have been a bit in a cage and feeling frustrated and all of that, that Uranus helps them to break out a little bit, you know, break out that song. And it's about liberation. But now the first week, don't think that you're going to be liberated, because you're going to be a bit frustrated. But if you know that, it's the universe doing, you could say the universe is smarter than you, and it's for a reason, right? So you have some blockages where it's happening at the core of your horoscope, because Leo is your fourth house, which is your home life. Your home life, your there could be your roots, your family. There could be some things going on that are out of your control, because it's opposing Saturn, and that seem to slow you down. Okay. Now, what to do? The best thing to do is not fight it, because when you're gonna fight it, it's gonna be worse. You're gonna not only it's gonna be painful, but it's going to be suffering. Then, if you don't want to suffer, you just accept what's happening, because this is not gonna last forever. After the 10th of the month, there is a breaking free of this energy again, and off you go. So it's like a week or 1.5 weeks of frustration there. That it could be plenty of things. It could be related to a family member. Maybe there is some tension going on there. It could be related to the balance between work and home life. It could be also doing Mars in the fourth house, doing renovations and you know, everyone who has done a renovation knows that there always will be frustrating times when you're doing that, because things are happening that are out of your control and you are delayed, that kind of stuff. So be aware that that can happen, but there is a reason for that. You know, you are an element of the whole and you're definitely not God. So we have to accept that things happen out of our control. And if we do that, it makes life easier. It's still painful at times, but it makes it easier. The same with Venus. So you're going to have Venus there. So the first 2-3 days, it's going to be very much that frustrating energy on a level of wanting to do things, but it's not possible. And then it's Venus, which has to do with love and value. You know, you want to express it or you want to show it. But again, there is like a blockage there. Again, it could be related to the home life for sure. and also to your work, and you know, that it's all a bit too much. But then comes the Mercury out of its shadow, which is on the 7th. It's out of its shadow. Not only that, it's also not the last time it squares up to Neptune, which I talked about last month. I'm not going to repeat the whole stuff, but basically it means a lot of unclarity, and now comes the clarity. And that's happening in your second house of money, finances. So if you've been struggling a bit on the level of money, on the level of your resources, there's clarity coming after the 7th and the 8th of the month of July. So that is something to look out for. Even when the news is going to be good or bad, you're going to know where you're standing. And that helps you, of course, in having a bit of a direction there. And then, guess what? On the 13th and 14th, boom, Mars and Venus together. That happens only once every year, 2 years, 1.5 years, 2 years. So that is beautiful, and in that same 4th house. So there seems to be, although there were in the beginning some frustrations going on, around the 13th, 14th, there is a lot of beautiful energy, heart energy going on in that 4th house of yours. So it seems like things are working itself out. So remember that when things are happening in the first week that seem to be very slowing you down, it's not all true, right? It's not all true that it's totally depressing. No, it's just temporary. You will adapt yourself. And with Venus and Mars together, you're going to have a lot of heart energy for people that are very close to you, and you're going to realize that. So who is going to feel this the most, this beautiful energy of the Mars and the Venus, so to speak, are going to be the Taurians who are having planets around 19 degrees. So that's going to be the Taurians who were born around and about from the 7th up until the 12th of the month. Yeah, something like that. So they got to feel that happy feeling the most. A bit earlier, Taurians are going to feel more the frustration. But of course, all Taurians will feel what I just described. So it's quite an interesting month. And but after that, off you go. The finances seem to be, and not only the finances, also your self-worth. It seems to be, you know, the second house is also the house of what you eat. So you could be doing some drastic changes there as well, and that could frustrate you as well. Definitely before the 7th of the month, but after the 7th of the month, it seems like you can do it, and you're dealing with it in a much better way, in a much easier way. Last but not least, Jupiter is going to be in Aquarius again, so it's going back into Aquarius in the 10th house of your career, and that will be at the very end of the month, around the 29th of the month. So this is showing that on a career level, at the very end of July, take that opportunity, because there can be a boost for you of expanding. You know, maybe you're doing a job that you don't like, or you don't have a job and you want a job. Wow, this is good energy. Jupiter at the end of the month going back into the 10th house. And it stays there up until the end of the month of the year. So if you have a new idea around career, do it. And because you couldn't have the wherewithal to execute it, so to speak, and being very optimistic about it, but optimistic in a grounded way. So definitely take on at the end of the month those career changes if you're thinking about that. Of course, take what resonates. These horoscopes are not for every single Taurian, of course. But this is good energy to make your career more purposeful, more what you love to do with it, basically. Or you could be traveling more for your career. For those of you who work in an international business, you could be more thinking about traveling at the end of July and onwards. You know, it's for the rest of the year. Very good energy. Or teaching, learning, teaching something new, but doing something also in groups. Because Aquarius has to do with groups of people. Maybe you're going to work with groups of people, or, you know, something social there. It's a really good energy. So having said that, I know it's not that much about relationships, but the focus on relationships and romance is a bit more towards the end of the month. Around the 23rd of the month and onwards, it's very good energy when it comes to enjoying yourself and when it comes to, doing the things that you love to do, whatever that is for you. Having said that, I wish you a very good month, dear Taurians, and thank you for listening. Bye-bye.